Connor Bedard and the Blackhawks are red hot. We're going to break down why with Tony Granato next on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. Happy Wednesday. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. I'm Jay Zawaski with Mario Tirabassi, and Tony Granato's with us in studio today. We are presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use our code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We've got a ton to get to today. Before we do us a favor and hit that like button for us. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. And here for catching up later on the podcast, we love you. We thank you. Make sure you're following or subscribed on your favorite podcast app. And in celebration of the Blackhawks red hot start, how about a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify? We would really appreciate that. Now that that's out of the way, let's welcome Tony Granato to the studio. Thanks for being here.
Of course, guys. Thank you. It's been a lot of fun the last month and a half since I've been in here.
Well, we're very happy to have you here, especially the timing is really good. Hawks are playing very well. And, Connor Bedard was asked about it yesterday after the game, like, how much better does it feel this year in comparison? You've been along for this entire rebuild. How's it feeling for you?
Well, I'll tell you what, every game that we watch and cover gets more exciting, and then you become more of a believer. I think there was always hope at the start of the year. We sat in here and talked about what would a good year be. And you go, well, you know what? Can they get to be a playoff contending team? Are there going to be meaningful games come March and April? And you're thinking, well, maybe if things go right. And I don't know that things have gone right. They've just played the way that Jeff Blashill thought they could. That's the one thing that I will tell. Jeff Blashill is not surprised. I think he was confident coming in on what he saw last year, what he realized over the summer he could do with this group. He implemented something that he thought would be easy for them to understand, and then he gave them a little bit to get fired up for. And they haven't nudged or took a step back on the whole process. They've just straight ahead. Let's play every game the same way. Let's gain confidence. Let's play with more intensity. Let's go out there and battle. And that's been a consistent thing all year. So we were talking before the game last night, and we just said, how good does it feel walking into the United Center knowing that the Blackhawks believe they're going to win tonight rather than hope they can play well and maybe stay in the game? And that was exactly what I felt like, and I think that's exactly what this group right now has gotten to the point when they go into games, they believe they can win every night, and that's a big change in the mentality of that group.
Well, that's how we started the postgame show last night. Was we're finally to a point now in the life of this company, since we've been around, where a win is not just like, oh, thank God they won, let's just celebrate the win. It can be, yeah, they won that game, but here are 3 or 4 things that need attention that we need to keep an eye on, that if they want to keep having this success, we need to keep an eye on, right? So interesting that you said that it didn't surprise Jeff Blashill. I guess, how would you generalize it? How much of this is player growth, like young players just getting better, more experience, and what percentage of it is coaching? Because it sounds like you're sort of hinting at, I want to put words in your mouth, that maybe they underachieved last year. Maybe they should have been better.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I get how you would interpret that on what I said about Blash. I just think the timing was right for a coach like Blash to come in. You're going to build around one player. Let's not sugarcoat anything. It's Connor Bedard. But to build around a player like Connor Bedard, you have to have a goaltender that can be a number one guy that can give you that stability from the net out. And Jeff Blashill, a former goaltender himself, when he saw the roster and he saw, okay, I got that piece already in place. I don't have to worry about that. He's young. He's hungry. He knows how to win. He came from the organization that's, been the model organization in Florida. So I think the confidence that he had and really the experience he's gone through on his coaching development, going and being an assistant coach under Coop for those last 3 years, watching the league, learning how to deal with skilled elite players like he did in Kucherov and Hedman. And he had Datsuk and Zetterberg and Cronwall maybe at the end in Detroit and maybe a couple other stars. But I think when he got to Connor and you see a guy that's just getting to that point where he needs that next little confidence to really be able to take that next big step, and that's happened. And so whether it was the first conversation in the summer that Jeff and Connor had, and he saw where Connor was different and more special than even he was hearing about, but whatever it was, Connor has taken upon himself to take this season as one that, okay, yes, I'm going to be better, but no, I'm coming in here with a whole different maturity, leadership thing. Guys, follow me, man. We can do this type of attitude. And look at the guys around him. Look at Oliver Moore last night, the way he talked after the game, the way he played. And, you know, Frankie Nazar. We go right down the list of young players. Colton Dock. Did anyone expect Colton Dock to step in, handle that role, and be as significant of a piece to this puzzle in the, you know, basically the quarter season mark? I didn't, but because of what Connor did and the other guys feeling, you know what, hey, so what? We're young. Doesn't matter. That's actually a strength. Let's just go out and play and have fun and do this. And so it's been a combination of a lot of things for sure.
How much does it play into that of like knowing the personnel you have from Blashill's standpoint of like he's going to go in with, you know, the messaging he has and the strategy and all that, but he's not trying to necessarily do that where it's just like you're going to play a system that this team is not set up for. Like I think you could point to Kyle Davis's drafting, which a lot of these guys kind of like fit that mold of that style of player. Like how much do you, I would say, credit it to having the right guys around? Because this team last year, I would say,
it's a great point.
You had more NHL talent,
you're
quote
right.
unquote.
Jeff Blashill is a coach for younger, hungrier guys that want to learn and can understand that what he's trying to implement is going to be hard and challenging, but they had the energy to do it. So if he had an older team with a bunch of experienced players and whatever, it might not have taken off in the way that it did with this team. I think it was just a great combination of Jeff Blashill, Chicago Blackhawks, right time, young players, and again, what Blash is. I coached with Blash for 1 year. I know what Jeff Blashill is all about. If I was a player, I'd want to play for Jeff Blashill because he's very straightforward, very clear on what he's asking of you, and you can find your role within what he's asking of you on a team if you want to play and you want to be part of it. And these kids are hungry to want to be part of it because they feel something special is not far out there.
In your experience, how do you, when you can talk to young players, and not just Connor, but everybody, and say, hey, you know what, when I was coaching Pavel Datsuk in Detroit and when I was with Victor Hedman in Tampa, do you think that translates to players these days where you go, wow, he coached these guys, certainly I can learn something from him? Does that, I guess, credibility count matter?
Two things. And Blash and I talked a little bit about this the other day. We did a sit-down interview. You know, as coaches, you're always looking to learn. And what better place to learn from is when you coach a guy like Kucherov or a guy like Hedman, or in my case, I coached Crosby and a lot of other guys. I learned as much from them as they were going to learn from me, maybe even more. And so as you go along and you grow as a coach, your ideas and your ways of communicating with that level of a player becomes different. And again, Connor's at that growing stage. He is so anxious to learn and find ways to get better. I mean, you can see it on how he's applied different things and added different tools to his offensive skills this year. He wants to watch everybody. If he sees somebody do something on another rink, this is why Sidney Crosby was so great. He could see someone do something in a game. Next day in practice, guess what Sidney was practicing? What he just watched on TV. And I think Connor's starting to realize that, gosh, there's so many different things. I'm really good at what I do now, but there's so many things I can do better and add to my repertoire and tools, so when I get in different situations, I'm not just a one-dimensional. I got to catch it, drag it, and shoot it. I can spin-a-rama. I can stop and curl up. I can slow down the play. I can go on different edges. Like, he's done some things this year that, you know, if you look back at last year, it was pretty predictable on how when he entered the line and crossed the blue line what he was going to do. This year, I have no idea. Neither do defenders. So the defenders are, watch the defenders on the PK now. They're all messed up. They're backing off. Then they say, oh, you better go. And then, so they're so in between. And now he's using his players and his teammates with Burakovsky and Bertuzzi and Nazar and whether it's Levshunov or Rinzel at the top. He's learned how to use them because now the team that's trying to penalty kill is overthinking, like, oh, my gosh, Connor's over there now. He's going to go to Bertuzzi at the goal line. No, he's not. He's going to come in and shoot because you backed off to try to cover Bertuzzi. He's learning to outplay and outthink what the other opponents are doing.
I tell this story a lot, and it was a learning experience for a young hockey fan. I went and saw the Hawks play the Penguins, Mario Lemieux. The Penguins were on a power play, and Lemieux was just standing on the boards, just kind of surveying. And I'm like, someone go take the puck. Someone go get him. Someone go stop him. And the second a Hawk moved, I think it was Gary Suter, moved towards Mario Lemieux, that's all he needed was that inch, and he just put it right on the tape.
Says, come to Papa.
Yeah,
that was what he used to say, come to Papa.
Yeah.
And
it's
when
just,
you do,
guys that think the game at that level, you can see the intimidation on the guys defending him. And I think it was Bedard's rookie year where he had the overtime winner against the Jets, where they just kind of parted like the Red Sea.
Yes.
That's the respect that he has. They know he's got the shot. They know he's got the skill. And now that the points are there and the performance is there and the spotlight is there for him, you can, as you're pointing out, you can see the respect given to him now and the fear from teams defending him.
Let's go back to Gary Suter because he was one of my all-time favorite teammates, if not favorite. So I don't believe that he made a mistake. I'm going to call you out on that. It wasn't Gary Suter.
I might have been
He
wrong.
never
Could
made a
not have
mistake.
been. It could not have been. Yeah, him and Chelios together were just awesome. Whatever year it was, I think they were 1 and 2 in the team in scoring.
Yeah, I got something for you on this. He has the most points of a retired NHL defenseman that's not in the Hall of Fame. Gary Suter. Nobody knows that except I do. Obviously,
Now, it's obviously was a. This is not but second fiddle in Chicago. When he was in Calgary,
McInnes.
He was with Al McInnes. So he's always kind of been. He's maybe the Seabrook to the Keith.
Man, correct. He's been the guy that's been the underappreciated because he does everything right and he allows the other guy to be great. But Suits was a sensational player.
Yes. My favorite of the Suitors.
Well, there's many to choose from.
Way better than the other guy.
The
Minnesota contract. No, I know the Sutters.
Oh, that's Suter. So you're talking Ryan.
Better than Ryan. It's Gary.
Uncle. That's Uncle.
And then Ryan way down
Gary
there.
is Ryan's uncle.
Yeah. Those were my formative years as a hockey fan, were the Roenick, Chelios, Suter, Belfour Blackhawks, and that's it.
Ryan Suter has a place in history on this show.
Yes, he does.
Has a place where?
Has a place in history on the show. So when
does he?
When we first,
you can tip me off when we're off the air.
Yeah, that's probably a better idea.
Sure. If you're a long time listener, a watcher, you know the Ryan Suter place in history. But yeah, I mean, I think when we're talking about Bedard and how he's kind of changed some things, there was something he did last night that I think other players might start paying attention to and using that he's doing that. I can't say I've seen too many people do. The second goal, his wrist shot, how he drags it in and just the positioning of his stick is vertical and his hands are up by his eyes. I can't imagine how strong you have to be in your arms and your forearms and wrists to get that kind of torque on it. Man, that is something that I feel like is unique to him. In the league that we saw a lot of in draft coverage and the wrist shot and shooting ability. And now this year it's been a lot of fun to kind of see it where he's getting that space because players have to kind of respect
he's quicker
it more.
And he's jumping to that space more. He's more deceptive. He's selling his shot more on the outside. And then, I think in that one he pulled it inside the defender. So he shot it. So the goalie's here and he's got a defender here. And the next thing you know, the puck's on the other side of the defender. So he backs up a little bit. He doesn't see it. He drops a little bit, and that's where he went up and over the shoulder.
Yeah.
So he's been very deceptive on his release points, and he changed his stick. He's been pretty secretive on what he did over the summer.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some things that he did training wise that I don't think we're aware of. I think we're trying to guess and try to figure out what the heck he did. But he trained with different guys over the summer. He didn't go, if you remember, he didn't go to World Championships. I'm going to be honest with you. I was like, what do you mean he's not going? Because Sidney Crosby was going, and you wanted to make, Team Canada this year for the Olympic team. You got to go to that thing. And his mentality was, it's not going to make me a better player going over there and playing 8 games internationally. I got to focus on things that I need to do over the summer So when training camp hits, I'm ready to be a better player. And so I give him credit because that was a move that not too many young guys are going to do. If you're asked to go to Team Canada, you go. And for him to have the understanding and confidence that was the right decision for him was pretty incredible for me.
Let's pin that because we'll continue that conversation. We got to hit the break zone. Make sure you hit that like button for us if you haven't done it yet. We got to get the likes up there like we do for post game shows. We got 59 likes. What are we doing? Hawks are in the playoffs here. Let's hit that like button. Back in 2 minutes more with Tony Granato next on CHGO Blackhawks. It is Blackhawks and Bulls season on Chicago Sports Network, home of Tony Granato. Visit chsn.com/podcast to sign up for your 7-day free trial of their all-access plan. That gives you over 300 live games per year. You can catch every basket and every goal from your mobile device, television, or wherever you want to watch. CHSN is your home for the Blackhawks and Bulls all season long. Chicago Sports Network, your home stream advantage. And also, CHSN is available now on Xfinity, DirecTV Stream, and Fubo. And if you want to just get on one team, you can do that after the trial. $19.99 a month for just the Hawks or just the Bulls. Or if you want the whole shebang, all three teams, Bulls, Hawks, Sox, $29.99 a month. So you've got your options to watch CHSN. So visit chsn.com for more details. Again, chsn.com.
Fall always feels like a reset between school schedules, busy routines, shorter days. Finding time to cook can be tough. That's why you gotta love our friends at Factor. Their chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious no matter how hectic the season gets. You can choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. And you can even enjoy more GLP-1 friendly meals and new Mediterranean diet options packed with protein and the good for you fats. Eat smart at factormeals.com/CHGO50off and use the code CHGO50off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Again, that's CHGO50off at factormeals.com. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with the code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase.
All right, we're back on CHGO Blackhawks presented by Bet365. Mickey Sticks reminding me, thank you very much. We have moved Petey. Petey was going to be on the second half of the show, but since Tony is in studio, we're moving Petey to Monday. So Petey, Steve Peters will have full breakdown of Connor Bedard's evolution. Actually, it'll be nice because it gives him a couple extra days to add yesterday's game into his frame-by-frame breakdowns of what Connor Bedard's doing. So Petey will be with us Monday. It would be sooner, but we have 3 games and 4 nights here, so this is our only regular season or regular show of the week. We'll talk to Petey on Monday.
That's just dawning to me that man.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
All right, so before we went to the break, you talked about Connor Bedard skipping the World Championships and how it could affect his chances on Team Canada. Is there a way? Look, I mean, he's close to top of the league in scoring. That in hindsight, the leadership of Team Canada can say, you know what? Kind of a selfless decision to go work on his game and recognize that he needs to improve to be a better player. And do you think maybe in the moment it looked bad for him, but now in hindsight, could this be a decision that maybe makes Team Canada think a little more highly of him?
Yes, I think so. And if you look at, he was invited to their orientation camp late in the summer. So there must have been some sort of conversation between the camp, the Bedard camp and Team Canada. And then, yes, I mean, they want the best players from the standpoint that there's a lot at stake for them at the Olympics. I mean, they are expected to win. They expect to win. And they're going to take their best players. And when I say their best players, Connor Bedard, obviously, he's could be the MVP of the league right now. Let's not kid ourselves.
Making a case.
So if you pick your team based on just the fact that we're going to take our best players, he's on your team right now. But John Cooper and the staff have to decide, what do we need from experience? What do we need situationally? What do we need because we're going to be playing in a smaller rink? Do we need bigger players? Do we need to play more of a grinding style of game to beat some of these European teams? And and obviously the U.S. So there's going to be a lot that goes into that decision. If the team was picked today and the Olympics started tomorrow, I think Connor's on the team. I do. So, there's still, a couple months that those decisions will have to be made in, but he certainly set himself up to a position where it's almost like, how do you not take him?
Right. Well, I mean, you've not in a NHL participation year, but you've been part of picking a Team USA team and within the Olympics. And what is that process like? What is that like?
I can tell you from
how much do you actually put on the who's hot now compared to okay, who has maybe prior experience in big games and things like that?
Lots of discussion about this. So 2014 team, I was part of that staff and part of the selection because I was an assistant coach on that team. Dan Belsman was our head coach. Right. And we would meet, I would say, every couple weeks. We'd have emails that we'd go through and just kind of scouting stuff that was on that we were all connected with. And then we'd prepare for our meetings, and we'd all place our wish list of what we thought would help our team as far as the players that we thought would fit into what our needs were. So I was a third assistant. We had Pete Laviolette and Todd Richards. They were running. One of them was running power play. One of them was running PK. And I was trying to help those guys, hey, the guys that I watch over here in the Eastern Conference, because I was in Pittsburgh at the time, we got to really focus. This guy might help us on the PK side of things. So you're trying to build your pieces of what you'll need in that game. And so there's a lot of debate and arguments for which players should be and shouldn't be. But ultimately, here's the most important thing. So John Cooper's going to be on the Canadian bench. Mike Sullivan's going to be on the American bench. They have to be comfortable knowing what you're going to give me, what you're going to give me. So when there's a 5-on-3 with 2 minutes to go in the game and the game's tied, he knows and has confidence in the 3 or 5 guys that he's putting out there. That's the most important thing, because if you go back to the the Four Nations last year, Jake Gensel and Kyle Connor, who would you play more? Kyle Connor, Jake Gensel?
I would lean towards Kyle Connor.
Okay. Who would you play?
I would say Connor, too.
Okay. Who got more ice time?
Jake Gensel.
And because the coach coached him in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And he says, I know what he can give me, so I'm going to put him on the ice more. So Kyle's sitting there playing, one every 7 minutes. He can't get into the game and show the coach in a short tournament what he probably could do.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to put the coach in a position where he's got a guy on the bench that he doesn't know, because he won't put him on the ice to have that opportunity. So I think that's a lot of what goes into those decisions.
Well, that's interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I go back, you think about the Olympic teams for all these countries, but especially USA and Canada, they're all-star rosters. They're guys that are coming from other teams where they're the best player on their team or one of the top 2, top 3, and then they're asked to play different roles. I think back of, for Team Canada, I think it was 2010, you have Rick Nash on the team, but he's a 4th-line guy. How much do those players kind of have to also be willing to kind of take a little bit of a step back and I'm used to being 20 minutes a night and power play 1, and now I'm being asked be on the PK and grind out 10 minutes because it's such a stacked team.
I'll give you one example from last year's Four Nations. Dylan Larkin on Detroit, first line center, plays every power play, every penalty kill in Detroit, and he took a minimal role and excelled at it. So the character of the kid, again, you have to understand, and there is a lot of sacrifice to be part of a team like that. Everybody, when Crosby goes and all these top guys go, McDavid, McKinnon, they're going to take a little bit of a less of a significant role as well. But it's not as drastic as, some of those top guys, like you said, Larkin. So I think that's important too. And again, the most important thing in a situation like that is that the coach would have already, so in this case, Mike Sullivan would have reached out to Larkin, hey, I'm looking for you on our Olympic team, but I have a role for you that is going to be different than you're playing with the Red Wings. So what do you think about this? I think he can't go into it thinking he's going to be on the first line, show up, and he's playing on the 4th line.
Right.
It has to be some process that's been kind of discussed as the year's gone along, and I think that would be the plan that both Canada and the U.S., they're smart guys. They know what they're doing as they get this process. And I'm sure, with Celebrini and Connor having such great years, I'm sure Hockey Canada has talked to somebody either in Chicago or Connor directly or Celebrini directly to kind of say, here's where we're at with you. Listen, keep playing the right way. Let us worry about the selections. Play that way, and you're in strong consideration for being all right.
So with the Olympics, you get a 25-man roster, 14, 8, and 3. Could you foresee a scenario where Team Canada or any of the teams really say, like, we're going to take a guy who we could look at as a specialist? So, like, Bedard is like a special teams guy, or let's be honest, power play guy, and we're going to use him pretty much primarily in that role, or cherry pick a player's role based on opponent. So, all right, we're playing Canada or Sweden, some of the bigger, stronger checking teams. So maybe Bedard sits this game, but we use him against Finland and some of the teams that are a little more skilled, like that sort of a thing, that sort of mindset. Or are they trying to go, we just got to take the guys to give us the best chance to win in any situation?
I think that's up for debate, too. I think the staff throws those ideas around and tried to decide what's the best thing. I'll give you another example. 2014, Dustin Byfuglien, an American, didn't make our Olympic roster. And we were in this type of an environment as coaches and staff deciding, do we take Buff? And for me, I'm not going to tell you which way I thought on it, but he's a unique player that does something different and is better than everybody else in the world at one thing. Do you take him just for that position? Power play, 5-on-3, stick him at the net front, whatever right. It was going to be. But that's the argument that you try to have, and then you decide, well, is it worth a roster spot? Or is it worth taking a veteran player that might be more boisterous and better in practice to keep the energy up? Everybody has different specialties that they add to a team, but that's a great example of throwing different ideas. That's what the head coach wants. He wants people in the room to throw different ideas and scenarios up there so you can get full discussion on what your roster will finally turn out to be.
Speaking of the selection process, we're going to be doing Team USA watch-alongs for the Olympics, whether or not there's any Blackhawks on that team. But as our regular Windy City Hockey brings up, Spencer Knight, the way he's been playing this year, how do you look at the U.S. goaltending situation? You got Ottinger and Hellebuck kind of locked in. Do you think Spencer Knight has made a case to say, hey, I can be a third guy?
They're definitely paying attention. There's no doubt. I think more on the injury side, even though he might be the best goalie at the Olympics, how he's played this year, I think the commitment that they made to Hellebuck by playing him in the Four Nations last year, and then the other one, that's Swayman, the third goalie, he won last year. He won a gold medal for Team USA. That hasn't happened in World Championships since 1930, and he was their goalie. Yeah. So those three are slotted as the goalies. I said the same thing. I said Spencer's playing as well or better than all three of them. So why wouldn't he be considered? He's considered. I think it's more of, in case somebody gets hurt, he would be that guy. And if someone really drops off and has a bad month before or something, then potentially he could be on that team. But yes, the other one I think that's quietly, Alex Vlasic is a sleeping player from the standpoint he doesn't get a lot of attention, but he defensively in an Olympic tournament, you would want to shut down defensemen like him. So, you said McAvoy's hurt now. There's always going to be injuries. There's always going to be some adjustments to your roster based on some injury things as you get closer to the Olympics. So I think Vlasic is kind of a sleeper to potentially find a spot that could fit on that roster.
One more Team USA guy to ask you about. Not a Blackhawk.
Yeah.
The guy you got history with, and I think is kind of on the bubble.
I know you're going.
Where do you
shoot the puck in the net a lot?
He does a lot. Where do you think Cole Caulfield stands with Team USA?
I mean, if I'm coaching, I take him. I'm not coaching. So, again, Mike Sullivan has to be comfortable and understand he's got a smaller player. The thing that I think people do not know about Cole Caulfield is he is a very responsible defensive player. He's small, and in those big grinding style games, if he's lined up against Tom Wilson, against Team Canada in the gold medal game, I'd probably rather have a bigger player. But I have confidence because I coached him to know that he could get the job done no matter who he's on the ice against. So that's your again. He deserves to be on that team and how he's played and what he does. But again, it's got to be a comfort with the coach. And I say he's gonna find a way on that roster spot.
I hope so. I always liked him.
This is really great stuff, Tony, because I think as fans we can look at it and say, well, he's playing better than this guy. Like Spencer Knight right now is better than Jeremy Swayman, so he should make the team. But there is so much, I guess you can call it politics, but there's history that goes into it too.
The other thing that I point out, so all three of us, and if you get, so who's the best 3 NHL general manager, would you say, in the NHL right now? Give me 3 big
Kyle
names.
Davidson.
Okay. No, hey, Kyle Davidson should be right now with what he's done. Okay. But
Jim Nill is the one that
Jim
everybody
Nill,
is.
Yeah. Okay. Say Jim Nill. Say Kenny Holland.
Yeah.
And say you get 3 of the best. They would all have pretty different teams if they picked their team for their thing.
Right.
So think about it. There's never going to be, they got the right team. Everybody's going to nitpick that roster saying, they should take this guy, or he's doing better than that guy. It doesn't matter. You have to make hard decisions because there's so many great players.
All right, got to hit the break zone one more time, then that's it. Let's use that opportunity to get over 100 likes. We got to get there. Hit that like button for us. Back in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks. Have you been to the United Center yet?
Yes.
The Hawks games have been lit, as the kids say. And you want to be there, and you want to be close. You want to see the speed in person, just like our friend Holly did all week. The Game Time app gives you the advantage. Back to you, the fan. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in a few taps. Plus, fees are always included, so what you see is what you pay. If it says $50, you're not going to hit checkout, and it's going to be $200 all of a sudden.
Oof.
Like some other places.
Don't
You
like
know
that.
who we're talking about.
Yeah.
Those jerks. They've got zone deals, so save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. And, of course, our favorite feature, the view from your seat feature. So, hey, I'm going to a new building, never been to the United Center before. Will I be able to see the puck? Yes, you will. Take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use our code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use our code CHGO for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today.
And we all know that moment when you realize you have left your favorite sunglasses at the beach or on the roof of your car or at the gas station 3 states away. I've been there too. My sunglasses were on the collar of my shirt. I was tying off a boat. Next thing I knew, those sunglasses were at the bottom of Fox Lake.
Thank you for your service. Sunglasses.
Then I got Shady Rays, and it changed the game. These sunglasses from Shady Rays are made for real life. They're good-looking, polarized, durable, and not stupidly expensive. The best part is if you lose or break them, even on day 1, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair absolutely free. No guilt trips, just replacements. So now you can actually wear your sunglasses without fear. We've been teamed up with Shady Rays for a long time, and right now they're bringing you an exclusive offer. Go to shadyrays.com, use the code CHGO, and you're going to get 35% off of polarized sunglasses, which are still useful in the winter because you don't want snow blindness.
Snowblind, son.
Try the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
All right, we are back. Thanks for getting us over 100 likes. As a reward, we're going to throw you a Die Hard special right now. This has not been going on for several weeks. We just did this right now. Because of your likes, $36 for the whole year. Steven spent the whole break making this graphic. Thank you, Steven.
Just in time.
Just in time. Scan that QR code or go to allchgo.com/join. Use our code HAWKS. $36 for the year. And yes, it includes the free t-shirt. Yes, it includes 20% off all merch beyond that. Yes, it includes the 20% off all of our events, takeovers, watch parties, etc. Still some tickets left for the season finale against the San Jose Sharks.
The playoff tune-up.
Which suddenly has playoff implications. Yes.
Like that.
Hawks
Nicely
might
done.
be resting their starters that day, so we'll see.
they
But
would never.
jump on that. That's the only takeover we have left. And that one includes a post-game come back to the studio, watch us do the show live. So that's going to be awesome.
Maybe
so
be part of the
save your
show.
20%.
You never know.
Yeah. It's going to be a good time.
You guys have been big fans for a long time. The celebration of the centennial celebration with all the events that have gone on so far and all the ones that are upcoming. What has been your favorite part of what's happened so far? And I'll tell you mine.
Well, I have to tell you, one of my all-time favorite Hawks, aside from Gary Suter, is another guy who, unfortunately, it feels like time is kind of forgotten because he played in the worst era of Hawks hockey, Tony Amani. I am a huge Tony Amani fan, and to see him at the opening day was very cool for me. Also, Jocelyn Thibault. That period is when I had expendable income for the first time in my life, and Hawks tickets were $8.
Wow.
With my student ID that I kept well after graduation. But I went to every game. So Amani and Thibault and Jamnov and those teams, as bad as they were, have a special place in my heart. So for me, getting to see Tony Amani, not only with the team, but in the alumni jacket, being honored, being announced, being cheered for was very cool.
For me, so far, the coolest experience has been what they did to close the originals chapter, which was 2 games ago, the Tony Esposito night, bringing out the old Stan Mikita and Bobby Hull, the original curve sticks, which would be super illegal today.
I don't think there's a limit now. I'm pretty sure there's no limit.
They get rid of the limit?
I
remember measuring. Was it
that.
Yager stick they had? Somebody had a
Marty
McSorley. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I was part of that game. So.
Yeah.
By the way, I was going to say this. You are hockey's Forrest Gump. Every time I watch a historic moment from a hocky game, there's Tony Granato in one way, shape, or form.
Really? Oh, that's when Pat scored as 8-0.
Well, I hate to bring it up, but I saw it. Well, it was the Steve Moore incident.
Yeah,
and I saw you trying to climb over the glass to get to Mark Crawford.
I did try to do that.
Yeah. Anyway,
I had Rick Tocchet behind me though, so I was covered.
That's good support. That's good support. But I noticed it every time. Like, oh, here's a historic hockey moment from the last 20, 25 years. Like, there's Tony. There he is, front and center.
Yeah.
All the time. Sorry.
Yeah. I just the centennial year is special because what it did for both you guys, it's the same for me. I grew up with the Mikita, Hull, Esposito, Magnuson, Coral, that era, and just to have that be brought back to center stage, so to speak, at different events, have them in the building, give them jackets, and a lot of our heroes aren't longer with us, but Jane Mikita being in there. One of Hully's kids was there. Glenn Hull's son was there as well for that night a couple weeks ago. Pat Foley being back in the building.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun.
And being the one that's introducing the alumni. Patrick Sharp coming back and giving a great speech. Like, that's cool. And that's really cool because, let's not kid ourselves. The game of hockey has grown to where it is today, and we have shows now that we wouldn't have had 30 years ago unless those guys did what they did to make our game so special and get appreciated in a different way. So we have a lot to be grateful for on what they did for us. So the memories and the excitement that they gave for $8, you got a pretty good deal. I didn't get an $8 deal when I used to come to the games.
It's pretty great.
But
pretty great.
I think the Blackhawks are doing a great job. So the celebrations of like the dolls come, you said bobbleheads, sorry, not dolls, but Chelios one's coming up. You said, and Savvy's got one coming, I'm assuming.
Yep.
There's a lot of more events coming up. And you know what's great this year? You don't have to beg people to come to games anymore. If they want to see great hockey and potential playoff, type of games, come see them, because I have not had a game at the end of the game this year, 19 games so far, right? I haven't had a game where I said at the end of the game, man, that game was just a dud. It just disappointed me tonight. Their effort and their excitement and their enthusiasm and the skill set that we've watched, every game has been fun.
I mean, even the losses, like, aside from the Jets game,
I was on the
road trip.
Like,
it wasn't that bad.
It was,
at the end of the game, I looked at the scoreboard and I'm going, they played way better than that.
It wasn't as reflective as what that would say, but like each game they've been in, they've gone to overtime. They've, sure they lose 3-1, but one of them's an empty netter. Like they're in those games that even they've lost, and they've won games where they haven't looked great, but they find ways to win. Like it is a more exciting season, and I think we've kind of seen attendance as the season has started. Tickets were bought before the year or whatever, all that stuff. But now I think we've seen attendance at home games start to increase.
I mean, the Leafs game was just the best atmosphere in years.
Right?
Yeah. I hope it gets back to that as a more regular occurrence as this team and these young players, they become more exciting. Like, we just had a meeting today about, how our downloads and views and all that stuff have been, like, people are paying way more attention to the Hawks now. It helps that the Bears are doing well. Like the mood in Chicago around sports is picking up, and the Hawks have been a big part of it. It makes it so much more fun to go to the rink and talk about the team. I can't imagine how much fun it is for those guys to when they're playing like this and to go to the rink and be excited to play.
For us as analysts, I'm with Kaylee and Pat most nights, and there were games last year as we're watching the games going, okay, how are we going to get 45 minutes post-game out of this game?
Same.
And this year we're like, we could go for hours. Now, we could talk about these guys. And, at the end of the thing, gosh, we didn't talk about Colton Dock tonight, or hey, we didn't. Spencer Knight had 32 saves. We didn't mention his name in the post game because there's so many things that are going on.
Yeah.
And so this has been a lot of fun. And if you're not on the train yet, get on it, man, because this is the time. There's a special place that this group is going, and I don't know when that's going to be, if it's going to, but it's happening. So that's been fun.
You mentioned not having to force people to come to games. Another old man corner moment for me is. This was I can't remember what year. It was maybe 05 or 04. They had Blackhawks players at Union Station with ticket vouchers.
I remember.
And people were like, it was like getting a Jehovah's Witness pamphlet at the airport. People would just take it and be like, no. And just, you could shout across the arena to your friends. I remember, excuse me.
Seabrook, right?
No, it was Brian. Seabrook was one of those guys too. But there was a Hawks game, they were getting killed, and someone yelled, "Fire Sutter!" about Brian Sutter from the 300 level, and Brian Sutter looked up, like right at the guy. Like it was that empty where Brian Sutter heard him hear his name get shouted and looked up like directly at the section it came from. It was that empty. So to see it back where it's going, and just to kind of circle back to the Centennial thing, when they brought out Sharp and Crawford, and Sharp took the mic, I was like, why is Patrick Sharp talking? I love the message he delivered.
Absolutely.
Without these guys, we are not here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they've handled this whole thing, curtain snafu aside, they've handled it perfectly. And what I like about it is it's been unpredictable. I think there's a million ways that you could have gotten together in one afternoon and planned a centennial season and celebrations, and we'll have some legends come out and wave, and we'll show some cool videos. The way they've imagined this in the chapters and everything, and like just the originals was not, I thought, was about the old guys, right? The first Blackhawks,
sure.
But no, it's about innovation, the goal horn, the hat trick, the curved stick, the butterfly save, all the things that the Blackhawks have innovated, spread out through time. I love that. I think they've done a really good job with this. And I, as a Hawks fan I'm 47, I've been a really big Hawks fan for 32 years. I am learning something new at every game, new with every video. They've done a tremendous job of it. So kudos to them. And I know the next chapter will be revealed soon. So, well, we know it's the Madhouse, but the
Madhouse years.
The video will be coming out soon for everybody to watch.
Madhouse years.
Yeah.
That'll be
No,
fun.
you saw a lot of games there, please.
I think I saw maybe about a half dozen.
Okay, you got
We got the
short change.
old stadium seats over here.
Yeah.
I got my tip of my finger cut off by one of those after a Hawks goal.
Got smashed in there.
I was with my uncle. He's like, "Do you want to leave?" I was just gushing blood. He's like, "Do you want to leave?" I'm like, "Hell no!" He's like, "Let's go." So maybe that was the moment where hockey sunk its teeth into me, was when I was bleeding at a Hawks game. But yeah, the stadium, there's nothing like it, and I hope they can do. Maybe they can have, like they have the interactive displays with the curved sticks. Maybe sometimes you go to the museum and you could like smell what things smelled like.
Oh, sure.
Maybe they could duplicate the sweat cigarette smell.
Smoke in the corridors.
The faint smell of urine.
The stairs, for sure. The stairs walking up from a player's standpoint. Your locker room was small and dreary and kind of, it wasn't state-of-the-art locker room facilities, but it was so cool as a visitor to be down there. And when you were downstairs, you're in the basement, you could start to hear the roar of the crowd before the anthem. Before the players came out. You could start to hear it pick up. And then as you're going up the stairs, the Hawks were coming up their stairs on the other side. You get to the top of those stairs and that just peek out and to see the crowd standing up and the noise and the organ going. There is no better experience as an athlete than that moment.
As an opponent, how does that feel? Is it intimidating? Is it exciting? Like what
I
are the
grew
emotions?
up in it.
Yeah,
I was one of those goofballs in Section J, aisle, whatever I was in, doing all that screaming and hollering. So for me, my first game was there. It wasn't fair that for a Chicago kid to have to play their first game as a visitor. So I came in as a Ranger my rookie year, October 6th, 1988. First game is New York Rangers at Chicago Blackhawks. So when I was doing well in training camp, I looked at the schedule and I go, oh my gosh, my first game might be at Chicago Stadium. So I didn't sleep for the entire time and when I learned that until that game. And I got on that ice, I was flying a million miles an hour. all this emotion going through you. And my first shift on the ice, I got a major for boarding. I boarded Steve Larmer. So Steve wasn't real happy with me, or Larms wasn't real happy with me, but I had so much energy in there, and I was flying. And I was playing with Guy Lafleur and Marcel Dion. That was my line mate. And
welcome to the league, kid.
Yeah, right.
I jumped on the ice, and I ran as fast as I was on the ice for 3 seconds before I got a 5-minute major. And I ran Larms over pretty good. Got jumped by Trent Yanni, and he jumped on top of me, kind of beat pounded me pretty good. So I'm sitting in the penalty box looking up at that old scoreboard, and 5 minutes for major, and got through that penalty kill. We didn't get scored on, played a few more shifts. I had a big black eye because I got another fight after that because of me running Larmer. And that's how I remember Chicago Stadium, or at least my first game at Chicago Stadium.
That is so cool. That's a great story. To explain the experience of going there, I obviously never played, but as a fan, it was just all your senses were elevated, because back then the area was rough. So even going from your car to the building was a bit of an adventure.
Challenge.
Right. For a suburban kid like me, that was a culture shock a little bit. Just like, oh my God, it's kind of scary around here. So that's step one. Then you walk in and it's full of smoke. Probably 30% of the people are drunk. There's fights breaking out in the crowd. It was just electrifying. And there is no cooler place to see a sporting event, especially a Hawks game, than the Chicago Stadium. It was just, you left almost feeling like you played the game. It was exhausting in a good way. It would just, you put all your energy into just attending this game, and it was, man, I hope I'm sure they will do a good job of capturing that atmosphere. And I know the people who made the last Comiskey documentary are working on a Madhouse documentary too, trying to gather people's VHS footage. Yeah. They got a decent amount. It's almost impossible to recreate that experience, but there was nothing like it.
You recreated it for me because you described it beautifully there.
Yeah,
I bet you every person that walked into that building as a sports fan, even if you weren't a sports fan, you walked in that building and you saw what was happening, and like you said, all your senses, the noise and the smell, and just the.
I can still smell it. It
was overwhelming.
That might just be me, though.
As a fan to be in that thing. And you didn't wind down for days after going to a Blackhawk game. You'd be so wound up on the way home, and then the next day in school, and you couldn't wait to get to that next one. It was
a grace. I think that's why I'm so partial to the white jerseys. Mm-hmm. I've always preferred the whites to the reds, jersey-wise, just because that's what I grew up on, and that was a stadium, and everything had this kind of golden tint to it. It's very hard to describe, but those of you that were there remember it well, and it's a place you'll never forget. Wow, man, it's kind of like reminiscing time.
It does make me miss that I miss, or
wish you were older.
Feel that I missed.
Yeah. Being old does have some advantage.
Yeah, I feel that I missed out on it. But yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to see how the Hawks are going to present all that coming up in the centennial celebration. I like the idea that, again, Windy City Hockey says use the graphics on the scoreboard that they did for the Chelios night, where it's kind of just that black and yellow, the light bulb look. That would be really cool. Yeah, I see all the old footage, and it just I do love the way that the team has been presenting it. I hope that they do a great job, and it's awesome hearing stories like you and Greg that have shared, and hearing from someone who's played in there. It is really cool, and it's I as someone who really I like to attach and resonate with 90s stuff. I feel like I just missed out on it.
Yeah.
But, oh well.
That's all right. Good. That's what we get. It's just the benefits of being old.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I was told, do you know the song Hey Jealousy by the Gin Blossoms?
Sing it for me.
No.
No
one wants
How
that.
much can we sing before we get demonetized?
I'm sure you know. Well, yeah, we can't. We'll get sued.
I do the Bear Show. We do plenty of singing. You'll be all right.
You can call it singing. Well, we played that big hit from 1992 for our producers last night, Chloe and Sarah.
Who are combined 50 years old.
They're combined younger than me. But I said, does this sound like old music to you? Yeah, it sounds like it's from the early 2000s. I was like,
oh, yeah.
That's recent music, okay?
20 years old is 2005.
All right, that's enough of that. All right, let's get back to the old hockey pucks because I'm gonna get upset. All this reminiscing is just making me feel very old. I want to talk about Sam Rinzel and Artem Levshinov. And as you mentioned with the postgame show, it's like, oh God, we haven't even mentioned these guys yet. Two of the most important Blackhawks. I really like Rinzel's bounce back game last night. Sort of lost in the Connor Bedard hat trick madness is that pass he made to set up the first goal, the little tap in that Bedard had past Wolf, where he sort of airmailed it over the defense and into the zone. That's what you want to see from a guy bouncing back from a benching, or scratch is probably more fair. What did you see from him, and what have you seen from him this year? How do you feel about his game?
Yeah, well, last year what he did when he got here was like, oh my goodness, he handled that so smoothly. Coming from college, and at the end of the year, they were meaningless games, but they weren't. They were an opportunity for him to come and show, I'm ready for the NHL. And, when he played his first couple games, you're like, this guy doesn't need any seasoning. He's an NHL player right now. Lots of guys come out of college, even though how hyped they are, you're thinking, he's probably going to need some time, especially a defenseman down in the minors, especially a guy that's still slight. He's still skinny for a big kid. You thought maybe he would, and he had me believing the first time he stepped on the ice as Blackhawks. So, did he perform the first 17 games before he had his night out to the level I thought, or as consistent level as I thought? Probably not. But he's a young kid, so there's no hard things for me thinking, he's a disappointment. I think he's been outstanding. The ability for Blash to have played 7D all along, and Louis Crevier stepping up and handling his role, I gave him the luxury of saying, you know what, we can do this. We can have Sam sit out tonight. It's not going to hurt our team, and it's going to give what Blash says a reset. Take a timeout, go watch tonight, relax, get your mind back on track, and get ready for the next game. And I thought he was good. He made a little mistake before he got that puck that he flipped out. He put it up the wall. The player last night, Ken Calgary, picked it off and then went to pass it back. And instead of panicking, he went back to coverage, went to a great spot, intercepted that next pass, and that's when he flipped it. And that flip pass, why it's so important is I think a lot of times he's caught it, started to skate, and wanted to make plays. And when you recognize that the offensive team is in and trying to keep pressure on you, and you pick up a puck and you're not sure what to do with it, that flip pass over their D to the way the Blackhawks are skating is always a good option. It's always, and it's a safe option. And that's what I thought was really impressive on that moment. Intercepted the pass, didn't think about skating and trying to make plays. All I need to do is get it up and over those D and let our guys skate into it. Worst case scenario, it's a forecheck for the Blackhawks. It turned out to be an exceptional play because we don't, what you guys, what I thought was really remarkable on this, their goaltender, Wolf, thinks that the Calgary D is going to get it. He was 3 or 4 strides ahead of Connor.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, Connor's burst blew by him, and then he says, oh, my gosh, my D's not getting it. I got to come out of my net. So that puck was only 3 feet in front of his net. And he waited thinking the D was coming in. Connor's speed made that goalie panic. So when he went out there, he's like, I shouldn't be here. And he swung and missed with the stick or swiped at it. And then Connor. Yeah. But that was all created by Connor's speed because he thought, the goaltender thought that was an easy one for his D. So, like you said, great play by Rinzel. We're talking about Rinzel, not Connor again. I know we want to keep talking about Connor, but Rinzel is going to be a star in this league. And great kid, fits in really well. And real happy that he got back on track right away.
I really like that Blashill said, I think it was pregame yesterday, after the morning skate, he has been a great player in this league already. Yeah. He's already acknowledged that Sam Rinzel has already been great and has already played great. So that, and I'm sure Rinzel hears that.
That's what is the most important thing.
Yeah.
That's where Blash is brilliant. Every one of those players feel valuable. And as a coach, sometimes that's really hard to do. It is. It's hard to make every player think that they're important piece in what they're trying to do. But, you look at Oliver Moore. Oliver Moore went down to the minors. They told him, hey, I remember Kyle Davidson actually said, hey, go down there, do something so I have to get you back here. That's basically was the message. He did.
Yeah.
He was on fire scoring-wise, and they needed to call up. He flies to Seattle. I was on that road trip. He flies to Seattle, gets in really late. He's going to play the next game. I think he had 18 minutes that first game as basically a fourth line left winger. And so Blash told him, hey, listen, do your thing tonight. I'm going to play the crap out of you. And he did. And since then, what's Oliver Moore done?
Yeah, 5 points in 7?
I'm not even worried about points. The effect he has on the other team with how hard he pursues pucks, he drives their D nuts. And now he's, gaining confidence. He's fitting in. He's making plays. He made the play to Granato on that first goal that Granato, took the shot, rebound, came out. And think about that play as well. So I would say, a team that's not confident, there's no way Louis Crevier is up that far up the ice. So when that rebound came out, he jumped on it. Most D would be standing at the blue line going, okay, I don't want the other team to get the puck. I'm not, because they'll be coming at me. Instead, they're on their toes. That's why their team right now is gaining confidence and becoming more unpredictable offensively and harder for teams to defend because they are just coming in waves at you.
We should mention Crevier, too. And
102 miles an hour.
Yeah, second hardest shot of the year, they said last night.
And if you watch and slow it down, he stepped into that son of a gun. And Mikheyev made a great play.
Yeah.
He laid it right on the ladies' tees for him, come flying in, and man, oh man. You look at the goalie, he didn't have you could tell that thing was coming in hot. Have you noticed I guess I'd say like a change in attributes? Does he seem faster? Does he seem like he's added it? Like we see Connor has very clearly added a dimension of speed. I haven't noticed anything that glaring, like skill set wise from Crevier, aside from like you're saying, I think last year he was just content to just sit at the blue line, be the safe guy, be the seventh defenseman that plays every now and again. He's playing with a ton of confidence. If anything, now I see him like, maybe you don't shoot it there. Like maybe I've seen him be a little too aggressive at times, like because sometimes a bad shot can kill a play. Like if he shoots it wide, it circles around, it kills a shift. I've seen that a couple times, but I would never in a million years guess that I'd have that criticism for Louis Crevier. Right, that's a kid playing. Is he tied with Levshunov for most points as defenseman?
Yeah, right now. Yep.
Yeah. So who would have thought that after 19 games? Nobody.
A 7th round pick.
Nobody would have thought that.
Well, that goes back to like what you were talking about with the national teams. Is there some pressure like, well, he's a 7th round pick, so we're just going to keep him back here? And maybe are sometimes coaches blinded to the fact that a guy's playing better than his draft status? Because I feel like that might have been because Crevier was good last year too. Not like this, but there was never a point last year where I looked at Crevier and said, oh, God, this guy's a disaster. They can only play him every now and again. Whenever he was in, he did the job.
So we'll go back to that confidence thing again because, again, I'm a confident player if you guys are confident too. If you guys don't have any confidence when we go out on the ice and you're not sure what to do because you don't have your confidence and you're going to be on your heels because you don't trust whatever, either our system or each other, it's going to be hard to play. It is. But what we've seen throughout the season is a growth in the units of 5 going on the ice. And the uniqueness of it is because of the injuries, because of the 11 forwards and 7D, it isn't a consistent line and pair all the time. They're all interchangeable. And when they get on the ice together, you could tell they have confidence in one another. And what they're supposed to do, I trust. And so last night there was a play that they ended up scoring on that. Well, another guy we haven't talked about, Ryan Green.
What an insane pass.
What an insane pass. But the play was it was off of a change. It's a neutral zone thing. They went D to D. They went right up to Burakovsky on the wall. Burakovsky drew the defender up, chipped it behind him. Green went flying through, beat his check to the puck. Drove deep, drove the depth of the rush deep enough that he could curl up. And then Connor's speed. You watch Connor's route. Okay, he comes to the middle and recognizes, I don't need to go to the middle. I'm going wide. Steps outside and became available. Green snaps that puck over there. Connor goes in and score. The trust that they had in one another to know where they were supposed to be and what they were supposed to do on the entries and the neutral zone transition, on the wall play, on the support, was what we're talking about when we talk about Louis Crevier and Rinzel and whatever. The confidence that they have knowing that we're all doing the same thing makes the game a heck of a lot easier. Yeah. And that's pretty evident on how they've been able to perform so far.
I think within the defensemen, you've seen how that rotation benefits them because if you were held to a 4 lines, 3 pairs, this is who you're with 100% of the time defensively, and if that player is struggling, you're tied to it. with the defensemen, though, like, because they're interchanging so much, if one guy's feeling confident and going, that rubs off on the next guy. And I think that we're seeing that with how, for the most part, we've seen the 11-7 lineup go, because as Blashill's done it, like, whoever's in the forwards group having a good game, they get extra shifts. And you might see, Bedard or Nazar or Oliver Moore, whoever it is, play with Slaggert and Lafferty, like, and then those guys get going, and like, I think it's just kind of, it's something I would never have expected to be like, oh, they're gonna go untraditional and it's gonna work out across the board. I think that is part of what's made this team feel more of like, this is who they are, rather than, oh, they're just running a hot streak.
Great point. Grzelcyk, we haven't talked about him either. The influence he's had on the back end.
Yeah.
Came on a PTO, and as I was watching training camp, I'm going, man, oh man, he can help. This kid had a great year in Pitt last year. I talked to a couple players in Pitt about him, and they said, oh my God, great teammate. We wish he was still here. He can help. Who can help whoever. And I'm watching him, and I'm thinking, okay, is he going to be odd man out because of numbers? And we're worried about, was Korchinski going to, make the team or not? And I'm like, man, oh man, he might be this settling piece, along with Murphy, the other older guy at the back end, but a different way. Murph's the hard-nosed,
right,
physical, intense guy, and he's over there the calm guy, nice and relaxed, simple guy. And so that combination, having those two both back there, I think has really calmed that group down back there. And he's been a great, great mentor for those young teams.
I feel like, as you mentioned, we could probably do 6 hours and still have stuff to talk about. But we got to wrap up. Tony, thank you for being here.
Thanks,
I know
guys.
we've got a bunch more of these on the horizon. We'll get that schedule out as we can. And again, if you were here, because I know we promoted last night, the PD would be here. We'll have PD on Monday's show at 2:30, so don't miss that. He'll talk Bedard. But we got post games tomorrow, Friday, Sunday. So don't miss it. Make sure you're here with us.
Lots of games.
Let's go.
Coming.
I tell you, I'm depressed on non-game days. Like, let's go. I don't want to just talk about it. I want to watch it.
Yeah.
So we'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk to you then on the postgame show right here on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast presented by Bet365.
We all silly like the mayor.